Mark Kleinweaver to our school. Mark is a Major League Baseball agent who represents more than 75 professional players and has 20 years of experience in sports entertainment as an agent and a TV, radio broadcaster, writer, and educator. His day-to-day responsibilities include managing off-the-field client services, contract negotiations, and communicating with all of the Major League Baseball clubs on behalf of his players and their families. He's a frequent speaker at high schools nationwide on why character matters, which is his topic here today, offering guidance on social media dangers, volunteering, and anti-bullying leadership. He is a guest professor at USC on how to get a job in sports. His book, Minor Moments, Major Memories, debuted in bookstores nationwide in 2005 and was developed into a TV series. He was baseball team captain at Stonehill College, where he graduated with a degree in communications. Please help me welcome Mr. Mark Kleinweaver.
I appreciate that round of applause, and before we get into who I am, why I'm here, setting some ground rules, if anybody deserves an enormous round of applause, it's the two people that put this together today. That's Mr. Larson and Mr. Raggi. How about for them? I have one speed. I run off enthusiasm. We have less than 30 minutes left. I will look for some class participation. This is an educational event for you. It's not for me, it's not for your teachers, not for your principal, it is entirely for you. At times, I'll ask somebody to come up here and join me. Most of the time, I'll look for people to raise their hand if they agree. I'm big on class participation. I encourage you to participate. If I ask a question and you agree, raise your hand. I don't necessarily need your voice, I just need your arm up. That is the best and most encouraged way to be involved. The other is I always see people over here. One dude's got headphones in, a couple of young ladies over here are already chatting, this guy over here is on his phone, and so then I have to slow the presentation down, find out why I'm not interesting, certainly why I'm not educational enough, and whatever that distraction is, we'll just bring it up here. We'll bring it up here in front of all of your friends, all of your classmates, and most especially in front of your principal. Now, unfortunately, we've had to do that in the past. Like I said, we're not here for me, we're here for you. Don't slow everyone down with that selfish behavior that results in likely being in the principal's office. Let's try to have some fun, let's try to learn something, and let's move through this pretty quick and stick with option one. So, who is Juan Mark? I'm a Major League Baseball agent. I have over 20 years of experience in sports and in entertainment. I represent over 75 players, including Major League All-Stars. The message you are getting today is the same message that the Stars get. I'm from New York, I live in California, actually have a house in South Dakota. I am all across the country. The situation, the problems, the issues that you are facing here in Nebraska are no different than the students that are in New York, California, or anything in between. I'm a graduate of Stonehill. Most of you have never even heard of that school. But I'm really here because of the passion I have to help you at your school. And when I tell you that the message you get today is exactly like those superstars that you follow, well, let's get into what I mean. We'll start with some Q&A. How many people here are country music fans? Raise your hand. So you'd be familiar with this guy, Chris Stapleton, right? Okay, so there's Stapleton. How about Morgan Wallen? Where are the Morgan fans? Anybody a fan of, let's say, Taylor Swift? What about you go to Drake? Any Drake fans? Drake always gets the biggest. The only reason I bring up those four celebrities is because while I work with baseball players, and I deal with people in the NFL, in the NHL, in the NBA, and NASCAR, I also deal with a lot of people in entertainment, including the agents, the managers, the publicists of all four of those superstars. The message you are getting today, truly, the message you are getting today is the exact same message that those celebrities get. Because what's on the line for them when they make a mistake? When they misuse this weapon in their hand, because it's not supposed to be a weapon, it's a phone. But the reality is, when they make a mistake on this, the fame, the fortune, everything they've worked for can disappear that quick. What's on the line for you? Let's do some Q&A. How many people here want to go to college? Raise your hand high. How many people here want to get a job after high school? Raise your hand. Who's joining the military? Anybody? Great, you all have plans. Every single one of you told me you want to do something. Well, those celebrities, those superstars, The advice that they get about social media, dangerous consequences, bullying, it can disappear that quick. This, that you hold in your hands, access with your fingertips at any given moment, that's what's on the line for you. College, job, military, whatever you raised your hand for, it can disappear that quick. And I think it's pretty unique for the students here of O'Neill to get the same exact message that those celebrities get. And again, that's a testament to your athletic director and your principal. So I'm an agent, and I represent 75 players and their family. I am no longer the only agent in this room. Congratulations, every single one of the students in front of me. You're an agent too. I've got 75 clients, you have one. Who's your one client? It's yourself. Good job. If you don't know your pros, cons, strengths, weaknesses, likes, dislikes, inside and out, you're probably going to fail both of you. The fundamental building block to being an agent is honesty. You always need to be honest with yourself. Starts with the ABCs, really simple. A, accountability. Now, what do I mean by that? You're horsing around the hallway, you get dragged into the principal's office, you get challenged. Where's the accountability? It's not what I'm talking about accountability. What's your ability? Every single one of you. Up top, down here below, you are all superstars in something. You have an ability better than everybody else. It's your left, your right, front, or back. It's your job to figure it out. I'll give you an example. When I was in your position, when I was in middle and in high school, I won the same superlative in the yearbook twice. Most talkative. And nothing's changed 30 years later. I'm still the most talkative person in the room. Wasn't the best athlete, not the most gifted student, wasn't the most involved, but I can talk better than everybody. What's your ability? What is that one thing that you do better than everybody? Because it is going to define you in middle school, high school, college, in the job, in the real world. It's going to separate you from everybody else, just like those celebrities you follow. And you are going to be held to account for it. Ability. Start thinking about that now. Let's do more Q&A. How many people here play video games? Raise your hand. How many people here watch TikTok videos? Raise your hand. How many people here make TikTok videos? That's a fair number of you. Maybe you'll be out in Los Angeles one day making movies or television shows. I get it. TikTok videos, video games, it's all part of your life. I'm fine with it. I drive your teachers, your parents, your coaches, your administrators nuts. I get players that get paid to play in Fortnite tournaments, video game tournaments, make TikTok videos. I understand it. How many people here have a part-time job? Raise your hand. Where are the athletes? How about the people that are in the play a musical instrument, things like that? Anybody have a part-time job? Like really kind of have something to do? Nobody has a part-time job? Nobody? Okay. So between athletes, part-time jobs, musicians, you are busy. I didn't say anything about being in this building. I didn't say anything about homework, eating, sleeping. I know you're going to Snapchat with friends, you're going to jump on the phone, you're going to have an extracurricular life, whatever. Your 24 hours goes by that quick. You represent one person, so no more excuses. How do you break up the balance of your day? How much time is spent on certain things, TikTok, video games, how little is spent elsewhere? That is up to you. Those superstars you follow, they will all tell you the balance is key to life. How do you balance your day? You are in charge of yourself. That is your question to answer. Why am I really here? It's character. That is why they asked me to come in today. Because it is vital to your client, especially with social media and bullying. Let's start with social media. You have to be aware of what you post, you like, you dislike, and comment on. Why? I said it a little while ago. This, social media, extremely dangerous weapon. Now I noticed that Drake got the biggest reaction. So let's talk a little bit about either Drake with rap music, because it doesn't matter if it's Post Malone, it doesn't matter if it's Kendrick Lamar, but say the new album drops. Right, you're paying attention, now the lyrics, they scroll up right here. So you screenshot that lyric. That new album from Drake, and you send it off to 2 or 3 friends. We're all excited about the song. Well, when you screenshotted that, you sent that off. You didn't realize that Drake used the N-word. You sent that out to 2 or 3 friends. That's no longer Drake's lyric. That is your organic thought. The moment that leaves your hands, gets into the hands of someone else, whether you are or not, this building, this community, that world out there, is unfortunately going to classify you, label you as a racist for the use of the N-word. Now, it's not going to happen here at O'Neill. It's not going to happen to you or your friends, that team you play for. It's not going to happen in this community. I'm just giving you made-up example of what could happen. How many people make TikTok videos? How many people actually hate being in TikTok videos? Raise your hand if you don't like to be in them. Well, I see that, hear that a lot. Many times people are in those TikTok videos, they don't even want to be in them. So let's just say it's one of those bad weather days. You're all home from school. You decide to make that TikTok video. Everyone's having a great time. Someone in the back yells, "This is so gay." Well, you know, and I know, that that person wasn't using the dictionary definition of the cheerful time you were having. You know exactly how that was used. That's a homophobic comment. That could be an insult. It's a problem for you. And if it wasn't bad enough being the prior example, being that racist, now you're going to be labeled as a homophobe. And it's not just you. That's why I asked you, do you like being in those videos? Because when your face is in it, when your name is on it, you're now attached. So it's you, your friends, that team you play for, that activity you're a part of, that school you go to, that community you live in, must be racist homophobes. But like I said, it's not going to happen here or here. I'm just giving you a couple of examples that have come up across time. Now, I'm always interested to know the answer to this question. How many people in this auditorium pride themselves, really believe in their heart they're good students? Raise your hands high, be proud. Of all those good students, who considers themselves to be a really good reader? Who's a good reader in this group? I need one volunteer. It's amazing how fast the hands go down. Right here. And I think we've got before. How about a huge round of applause for our volunteers? Y'all know Winnie? If you do now, repeat it. All right, so Winnie, my volunteer, has no idea what we're doing. Okay, we didn't get here early, we didn't rehearse this, right? Now, I'm going to ask you to stand right there, and as we set up the next slide, I do want to remind everyone that being that first, being that volunteer, being that leader, to take initiative, that is hard. It's always daring. And Winnie chose to do it in front of all of her friends, all of her classmates, the entire school. I think that's very important. We see behavior get followed. That isn't always the best. In my mind, when you're doing that leadership you showed, I appreciate it. So much so that for those people that put those hands down, you just never know. So Winnie, for your efforts, I want to give you a little McDonald's gift card. Thank you for taking that initiative. And I hope that you follow this example well. You never know when you want to step up and challenge yourself on something. So Winnie has no idea what we're about to do, and in reality, being that first is tough. Oftentimes we see people follow. I don't need one volunteer, I actually need 5 more, so where are they? 2. Who else? I need 4 more volunteers. I need 6 total. Who else would like good readers? Who else wants to help out? Because we can't get together, so I see you. 3, good job. 4, come on up. 5, come on up. Need 1 more. 1 more from the top. Come on up. Put down, put down. 6, how about a huge volunteers? Round of applause. Round of applause for all these volunteers. This example, this isn't made up. And unfortunately, when I go through all of the examples that happen in real life, real world time, I have to look and do a little digging and find out that this actually happened at O'Neill. And unfortunately, the answer was yes. So I'm going to ask our volunteers to do is each take a bullet point. They'll stand wherever they need to stand. They're going to take this microphone. They're going to be nice and loud. We'll keep the audience quiet. We'll save all the applause till the very end when I get the microphone back. And I'm going to ask them to read a bullet point. And we're going to listen to the story that actually happened in a high school very similar to O'Neill. And I will just remind all of my volunteers that I know you can read to the best of your capability, and so does your principal. Just remember, he's watching. All right, Winnie, start us off.
A female freshman high school student in Virginia sent a private Snapchat to a friend where she used a racial slur. The video was then circulated and saved by another student who was a male African American.
The female student said that the words she used in the Snapchat was all in the songs we listened to.
What she said in the Snapchat to her friend was, "I can drive N-word."
It wasn't until her senior year, 3 years later, that after she was accepted into the University of Tennessee and onto its national championship team, that the past reemerged.
Okay, I'm just going to stop right there and call a quick time out. So we've got this high school student who sends a private Snapchat to a friend. you, nothing disappears, nothing goes away. Anything you delete can always come back. I have players on the verge of multi-million-dollar contracts. The first thing the team does is they look at their past. They look at their history. Not their medical history. They look at their history, what they post, what they like, what they dislike, what they comment on. And they will go back to high school, even middle school, to see what they said, what they thought. No different than that college, no different than that job, no different than that military. Anything anyone is looking to go forward and do. And then so she uses the N-words in all the songs we listen to. Sounds a lot like that made-up example. She spends her whole life getting to a point where she earns a scholarship on a national champion cheer team. And that post from 3 years earlier reemerged.
After the female student went to Instagram to voice her support of the BLM movement following the George Floyd protest, the African-American student who saved the video shared the original Snapchat on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, and called out her racist behavior.
It led to thousands of students nationwide calling out that female students for the first time for her use of the N-word. It resulted in public pressure on the university as first her spot on the team was revoked, and then the college gave the student the choice of moving on to Tennessee would take back its offer of admission.
She withdrew. She's now 20 years old. She still lives at home with mom and dad. Her mother said that the entire experience vaporized 12 years of her daughter's hard work and unfortunately going to affect her for the rest of her life. If you think those examples I gave you are made up, can't happen to you, can't happen to a friend, can't happen to a teammate, can't happen here at O'Neill. If you honestly believe that you are that invincible to this type of outcome, if you want to keep this type of behavior up, you are lining up to be exactly like this student who suffered those life-altering consequences. This is your life, real world. You are added in posts that you can't get yourself off of. You are in tags you can't remove yourself from. When I tell you you represent one person, you are in charge of one client. When this type of behavior goes down and your name, your face is on it, you're going down with it. You have to look out for number one. You have to understand how dangerous this weapon is. You do not live in a day-by-day or an hour-by-hour world. You live in a minute-by-minute society. And when your parents, your teachers, your principal says, I understand, they don't. Why? They didn't live in this era. You're the first generation to have to try to navigate through this chaos 24 hours a day. It is so important for you to have greater awareness of what is on the line for you. It is your future. You have to be aware. How about a huge round of applause for our volunteers? So when we tell that story, and I usually bring a chair up and like to slow down on this particular slide, but when we tell that story, I think about the 3 people that are involved. The young lady who loses everything she worked for, the young man who is offended and rightfully so, and then the person who got the Snapchat. And the only person we know nothing about is the individual who got the Snapchat. So, I ask you, if you got that Snapchat from a friend, with that type of language, that type of behavior, would you be brave enough to tell an adult? I know, and I agree. I get it. It's hard to be brave. It is tough. And if that young lady or that young man, we don't even know if it's a boy or girl, we know nothing about that person. But if they were brave enough to step up and say something, could there have been a meeting in the principal's office with those 2 students, an apology? Could there have been an assembly like this to understand why that is so offensive, how negative that is, how that changed that culture? We'll never know because that student's lack of bravery. No different for any of you. When you're at the top of jobs, the McDonald's, the Dairy Queen parking lot, you see an incident go down. They need somebody to step up, be brave, say what happened. Nobody wants to do it. There are cameras following my every move, recording my every word. There are cameras in this building, on this campus, out there in society. They have seen behaviors of all of you. Let's just say you're in a spot where the only thing you have to do with it is you got eyes on. That's the only thing. There's a victim who gets beat up in a parking lot. There's an individual who gets absolutely humiliated publicly on this. And you know who did it. You know, I gave this presentation once in Idaho talking about being brave. If you see something, say something. If you hear someone, tell someone.
and the student afterward took to social media, made the following comment: "Blood ain't gonna get me to snitch." That's what they said. Now, I ain't trying to get you to do anything. I'm just telling you, you're in charge of yourself. You have one client. So what if it was your best friend who was that victim? What if it was your brother or sister? You would demand justice. So when you get eyes on the incident, they know because of those cameras that you were there, you saw it, you know who did it. You ain't gonna snitch? No problem. You can call down to the principal's office. Your parents are there. The victim's family's there. The superintendent's there. The police are there. And all they need is a name. You ain't gonna snitch? Okay. Don't show up to school tomorrow. You're suspended immediately. And you'll remain suspended until we get the name. Could happen to you. I'm just saying, in this real life, real world, being brave, it's not easy, but it's your responsibility to tell an adult. And I know if anybody was in that position, that victim, it was personal to you, you would hope someone stepped up enough to be brave, to make a difference, and do the right thing. You have one client. It's up to you to advise that client how brave are they. Volunteering in your community. It's not hard to be selfless and kind. In this world where it's all about look at me, it's all for the gram, selfish, 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 taking pictures of ourselves, everything we're doing. How many people are giving back and helping others? Special needs, animal adoption, 4-H. There's plenty of organizations right here in this community that can choose you. But long past that, how about volunteering is fine? So many of you go to school with others. You've been going to school with these people for years. We all know the student that walks down the hallway by themselves every day. The one that oftentimes sits in the cafeteria by themselves every day. The one that you're doubting. The one that you're judging. The one that maybe some of you are even bullying. You never know what someone else is thinking now. I don't care if you're convinced that you're the most popular person in the school. To share a smile. To ask them how they're doing. Ask them how they did on the biology test. What are their plans this weekend? To be selfless. To give back. To pay it forward. To help others. To be kind. You're going to learn a little bit about that other person. It will make a difference in their day. You will learn a lot more about yourself. You are one allele. You are one school. You are one community. You are all in this together. To be more selfless, more kind. To give back. It makes a difference. For those of you wanting to go off to college, get the job, join the military, you are going to look like hundreds, thousands of other students in this state alone. The only way you can separate yourself is by showing those colleges, those jobs, the military, what's inside. The way you do that is to be selfless and be kind. Give back, help others, especially those organizations. Where are my athletes? Nice and high. I know about the basketball team. I saw the great gym. I know there's a wrestling meet tonight. Where are the athletes? I don't care boy or girl, what sport you play. There's a lot of you. There's a lot of you. And I know a lot about the ego of the athlete. Athletes expect this gymnasium tonight for that wrestling meet to be packed. The basketball game, when you're taking on your rivals, playing against peers, that gym, packed. Who are the performing artists, the ones that are in music or acting or behind the house? If anybody deserves a round of applause, it is all of those performing artists. It's not easy to get up on that stage right there. How about a huge round of applause for all the performers? Athletes, I have a challenge for you. This is a challenge for the athletes. You expect people to come to your event, show up, cheer you on? I'm asking you to do the same for the performing artists. Because as an agent, when players, their families, they call, they want to go to Broadway shows, they want to go to concerts, they want to go to a set of their favorite television show. If the athletes that you look up to want to go to all those performing arts, then how about you? Because these people might look familiar. That's Morgan Wallen and Taylor Swift and Drake when they were in high school. When they were on a stage exactly like that, performing at their local high school. So if you're going to school right now with the next Morgan, Taylor, or Drake, I know that if they were performing now as international superstars, here in O'Neill, the line would be to Lincoln to get in. Support the arts, who are one community. I can only imagine the energy in this auditorium for that player, that spring concert, if the entire boys and girls basketball team was here cheering them on. One community. You balance your life, your schedule. It's up to you decide who you support and where you want to invest that time. Now, here's some things that I'm told we can improve on in O'Neill. The bathroom vandalism and the vaping use and abuse. I'm not sure how we're getting our hands on the vapes, especially since it's illegal, which means that when you do have it and the police see you, that's not a ticket, they can arrest you. You're trying to get to the military, get that job, go off to college, to get arrested for vaping, is it really worth it? The racial, the religious, the gender insensitivity that's going on here have to be more respectful to each other. Be kind. Respect the other person, their opinion. Those are your fellow students. Those are people that you've grown up with and will continue to know for years to come, especially the respect to your teachers and your staff. Be open with, I want to go to college, I want to get a job, I want to go to the military. Everybody raise their hand. Those teachers, beyond just in the classroom, they're the ones that are writing down the recommendations for you to get to that next step. And at the same time, when those colleges, those businesses, those recruiters call, they can easily tell them their point of view of you. It might not always be the best. Respect that. They are working hard for you. Every one of us, we can do one good deed a day. It can be as simple as smiling at that person in the cafeteria and asking how they're doing. Be kind to others and be considerate. We wrap up here with the most obvious thing I could say in this auditorium all day. And that is bullying is an unacceptable behavior. It has become a real and tragic epidemic in our society. Your job is to lead, not follow an anti-bullying initiative. And I will remind you, everything I have shared today is the exact message that those pros that you follow get. I am simply here to pass along those types of conversations. And when it comes to the part about bullying, when it comes to the part about leading an anti-bullying initiative, I'm going to begin with the bullies. I watch every single person come into this auditorium. Where do they choose to sit? Who do they sit next to? Who do they talk with? And I talk to the administration. I do my homework in advance. I know where every single bully is seated. I know where every bully in this auditorium is. And I'm not the only one. Every student also knows where the bully is, especially the bully themselves. Being a bully is a choice. For the bullies, you choose to bully. And it becomes your identity. It will be how you're always remembered. You don't have to be the bully. You choose to be the bully. And so now's a good time to remind you that at some point you're going to leave O'Neill. You'll graduate, you'll be out of this building. And whether you choose to go off to college or that job or the military, there's always going to be a 21-year-old man or woman adult. When you're an 18-year-old college freshman, or an 18-year-old on that job site, or an 18-year-old just joining the service. That 21-year-old is going to tease you, is going to hate you, is going to bully you beyond belief. And you're going to wonder, why is this happening to me? I want you to think of this moment, when I'm giving all of those bullies a chance to change their ways and to start being part of the anti-bullying initiative instead of continuing to be the bully. Because it's called karma. It's real, and it's coming for every single one of you bullies in front of you. But I don't want to spend any more time on bullying. I want to talk to all of those who feel like they're being bullied. Because unfortunately, there are too many of you out there who are being bullied. And it can be a little or a lot. It can be by someone who you consider a friend. It can be by someone online who doesn't even exist because they're nameless or faceless. Well, for every single one of you who feel like you are being bullied, I asked you earlier, what's your ability? Because that ability is going to separate you from everyone else. You're a superstar at it, you do it better than everybody. And so for all of you, you take that ability and you combine it with two things you already have inside. One is courage, and the other is confidence. And how do I know that you have courage and confidence? Well, it takes courage to show up every morning here to O'Neill. And I know you've got confidence because everyone who's got an ability always has some swag. Courage, confidence, ability, you're going to make it one. It's going to become your Teflon. There isn't a boy in this room, in this school, in this community, on this planet that can penetrate. And I always wonder that if this kid moved here, moved to O'Neill, new kid on the block, would there be one bully? And this is where I want to hear your voice if you think the answer is yes. Would there be one bully if this kid moved here, was walking down these hallways, that would call him a dork? Yes. Would they call him a loser? loser? Yes. Might they call him fat? Yes. Okay, so I've heard enough yeses. I only need one. This kid moves to O'Neill, and there's one bully out there that would call him fat or loser. I agree. Doesn't matter if it's a boy or if it's a girl. That kid hears fat or loser all day. Doesn't stop when the bell rings. It doesn't end when they get off the bus. Why? These weapons. This is where the bully is now. Nameless, faceless, on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, group threads. This is where the bully lives. And that bully is leading that boy or that girl to take the most extreme, heart-wrenching, of permanent, irreversible decisions to make the bullying stop forever. And we don't want a tragedy on our hands here in the O'Neill community based on that bullying behavior that could have been avoided. And the reason why I know so much about ability and courage and confidence for all of those who feel like they are being bullied is because do you know what happened to the fat dork loser in these pictures? He grew up to come here to O'Neill today and share this message. That's me in middle and high school. And I'm living proof that it's not about how and where you start when you are doubted and judged and bullied in these hallways. It is all about how and where you choose to go in your journey in life. That courage, that confidence, that ability, that is yours. And the sooner you commit to it, the sooner the bullying stops. For every single student, every teacher, every administrator, every coach, every parent, you are one O'Neill. You have to come together to stop being part of this bullying problem and be the solution. I was told you would be an all-star crowd. You were a Hall of Fame audience. You were outstanding today. It was an honor to be here. I'll stick around, take questions. Thanks so much for having me, and have a great rest of the school year. Thank you.